first of all, my name is Stacy Rossetti. If y'all don't know, I'm the founder of REI USA, but I also invest in self-storage. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing now for the past 5 years. I've been investing in real estate for 10 years, been investing in self-storage for 5 years. And then I love just teaching people how to invest in self-storage because for me personally, it's the best thing in the world. All right. But of course, if you talk to every single REI USA teacher out there, they're going to say whatever they teach is the best thing in the world. So, but first of all, so before we get started in all the self-storage stuff, introduce yourself. And George, you're here. You're a teacher for REI USA and you're already unmuted. So why don't you introduce yourself to everybody first?
Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, it's mute. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the REI family. My name is George Ansong, and I teach buy, fix, and sell or flip on this platform. In fact, my teaching is next Thursday at 6:30. So I invite you guys to come. I've been investing in real estate for a very long time, back in Brooklyn, all kind of good stuff. But now my concentration is buying properties and fixing them and selling on the high end, $500,000 and up. And I have specific zip codes that I concentrate on. I have one deal that is we just listed. One is on being constructed, and I have another one that we just bought. So kind of busy. Things are going pretty good.
How big are your rehabs usually, George?
Like money wise?
Yeah, money wise.
About 200, 250.
Man, how do you do it?
Because we select areas, right? Where sometimes we have to add square footage in order to meet the ARV. And we'll put all the high ends in them. I'll send you a link of one that we did in Kegwood. That is on that. We're listing them right now.
Cool. Well, I mean, I did $150,000 rehab, and I did one $200,000 rehab, and then I built one house, and after I did those, they were all kind of at the same time, and I was like, I'm never doing that again.
It's a lot of it's a lot of headache.
It's a lot of work.
But I have a group. You see, it took a while, but now I have a group. Like my construction group, they're very good. There's supervisor. We have a team. We have a group.
Exactly. If you have a good contractor and a good team, it just makes life so much easier.
But buy and flip is not for the faint-hearted. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Dealing with permits and all kinds of stuff. You've done it, so you know how it is. But it's exciting. It's an exciting world to be in. So, thank you. I took the whole time.
Well, we appreciate you, teaching for REI USA. And essentially, if you're interested in doing, rehabs, any type of rehab, he's done it all. But especially big, custom rehab. He does custom rehabs. And so I say, hang out with George.
Custom rehab, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you do.
I like it.
And actually I don't know, that might be something like, maybe later down the road, if you want to choose your title or anything, you just say custom rehabs. I know you want to teach everybody though, but because custom rehabs, I think, that's such a niche area,
That it is.
Yeah, it's like self-storage investing.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not like a huge big niche or anything like that, but that's what REI USA is about. And so Michelle and Jonathan, just so you know, Christy's on here too. Christy worked for REI USA. You guys probably already know her, but like the whole purpose of REI USA is for you to be able to learn about all the different types of niches in real estate investing, so that you can really figure out which one you want to do. Because I'm telling you, everybody always thinks that they want to either wholesale, rehab, maybe do some rentals, or maybe like do Airbnb. Like that's always like the four things, right? But then when you actually really get into learning all the different types of niches out there, you're like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that. So okay, so Michelle and Jonathan, who wants to go first? Unmute yourself, and you can guys introduce yourselves to us. Did I allow you to talk? Okay, so let me do it. Jonathan, I'm going to do you. Ask you to unmute. Does that work? Are you there? Can you talk? Jonathan? Are you there, Jonathan?
Hey,
Okay,
yes, I'm here.
okay.
Hello.
Hi, okay. Introduce yourself.
Sorry, I was driving, so
Okay, got it.
taking my
Okay.
son to the karate class. Yeah, my name
Okay,
is
well, introduce
Jonathan.
yourself real fast.
Yeah, my name is Jonathan, and I just started getting into real estate maybe about a year ago. Bought my first rental property, and now I'm looking to do, to learn new stuff. I wanted to do some, buy, fix, and flip, and maybe do a couple of those, and then eventually, get some capital to be able to afford a buy and hold type of property. Have a couple of rental property as well in my portfolio. And I actually joined George class. I don't know. I think maybe a few weeks back. I don't know if you remember me, George, but I also sent you an email. So yeah, hopefully maybe one day we can do some deals together.
Where are you at?
I live in Lawrenceville right now, so
Oh,
I'm
you're
in
in
Gwinnett
Georgia. Okay.
County. Yeah, I'm in Georgia.
Have you been to this class before?
Nope, not
Okay.
not to the self-storage.
Not to
class
self-storage. Okay.
before.
I just didn't know. Okay, good. Yeah, there's a lot of really, and actually, I think what we did, Christy, did we ever do that? Where if you go to the teacher spotlight, we're adding all the locations of all the teachers and where they invest. Did you start working on that? I don't know if she could unmute herself. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I actually, I started that, but I have to check back with that and make sure that they've got that going on there. Cause I think Fahaz had to do that maybe.
For
Or
Oz.
Usman.
No, Faraz does that.
For us. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, we'll just get with them. So essentially, but like we have a lot of, like, just so you know, Jonathan, we have a lot of Georgia teachers. So Carson and George, and I can't remember even how many people we have. So so make sure that you just pay attention to the teacher spotlight page on the REI USA. And then once that comes up, then you can look and you can meet all the Georgia teachers. Okay. Because I think we have like maybe 4 or 5. I know Scott Miller, he does notes. Oh yeah, Scott Miller does notes. He's in Georgia. And Darlene does the foreclosure. She's in Georgia. And then George is here and Carson are there as well too. And and then Rachel, she does luxury vacation rentals. And Richmond Rowe does arbitrage. All right, so just so that they're in Georgia. Now, it doesn't really matter whether or not your teachers are in Georgia, but what I'm saying is that there's a lot of Georgia folk out there in REI. It just happens to be we have a lot of Georgia people, and so you can meet them. Maybe do some deals together or do something. So that's what I'm gonna say. So, but anyways, welcome. So thank you for hanging out with us today. I'll get into storage in here just a second. And then, okay, so Michelle, introduce yourself. I'm gonna ask you to unmute and then you can introduce yourself to me. If you can. Can you unmute yourself, Michelle? Yes, no, are you there? You should be getting like a button that says yes if you can unmute yourself, Michelle.
She might be driving.
Okay. All right. Well, if you can later, let me know. Just put it in the chat, and we'll unmute yourself, and then you can introduce yourself to us. Okay. And you know what? Usually for this class, which is the self-storage investing, I rarely get a lot of people in this class, and the reason why is because I don't know why. I feel like there should be more people that want to invest in self-storage, but a lot of people just really don't, they don't know how to get into self-storage. They say, oh yeah, that's the commercial side and I don't have any money, so I can't invest in self-storage. But the truth of the matter is that you don't need any money to invest in self-storage. In fact, the truth of the matter is that you really don't need any money to invest in anything. All you really need to do is you need to figure out how to find money, right? And if you can figure out how to find money, then you can invest in any niche that you want, right? But it's a mindset thing. And I always tell all my students all the time that if you want to invest in real estate, what you have to do is learn how to raise money, right? Learn how to find money. And the best investors are the most resourceful investors. So what you need to do is ask yourself, who do I know that has money? All right. And then you need to go out and ask them if they'll give you some. All right. What do you think, George? Is
You're
that
very
true?
right. That's what I do. I raise
That's what
money
I do.
all day.
So if you know anybody that has money, all you have to do is ask them, can I have some of your money, please? And they'll be like, what? That's a good way to just start it out. Be like, hey, I know you have some money. Can I have some? And then they'd be like, you're crazy. And I'd be like, look, I'm trying to invest in self-storage, or I'm trying to invest in real estate, and I need money. So why don't we work together? Why don't we partner? And I'll split the money with you. You let me go out, find the deals, manage the deals, and all you have to do is bring the money in, and I'll split it with you. What do you think about that? Right? But I think a lot of people, they don't even go out and ask anybody for money, or they say like, oh, I don't know anybody that has money. But the truth of the matter is that there's so much money out there. People, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of money, and I see it every single day. And I'm the type of person that doesn't want any opportunity to pass by. So I got into the habit of always asking people for money. In fact, what I suggest, especially for Michelle and Jonathan, is to go to my website, which is stacyrossetti.com, and click on my investor page. And my investor page, that page has raised me millions and millions of dollars. And so what we're doing is, all I'm doing on that page, and actually I can just show this page to you, just show it so everybody can see. On this page, let's do stacyrossetti.com. On this page, all I'm doing is just educating people on how to find money. I'm sorry, how to lend money. That's what I'm doing. And you can't really go out and ask people for money, right? That's against, right, SEC regulations. But what you can do is you can educate people on what private lending is. Okay. So if you look at this, basically, it's like, it's just basically trying to get people to set up a call with me so I can talk to them. And then I got a little disclaimer. And then I've got like, what is private money and how does it work? All this kind of stuff right here. I got the closing process. I've got a whole bunch of typical questions that all lenders are going to ask, how it benefits them, and maybe some testimonials of some people that have, that know me. I've got, a whole bunch of other questions about IRAs, or where do I get the money from, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And then I have a little video here. You can always watch this video, which is like, what is private lending, right? And I explain what private lending is. And then I have some more, information, another disclaimer, and then like how to set up a phone call with me. And then they go through like some questions. And if they say that they have money and they want to talk to me, then they get access to my calendar, right? And that website, and I don't even market that website at all. All right, that website has raised me millions and millions of dollars. Okay, because the thing is that, and I'm telling you, it's whether or not it's on the residential side or the commercial side, you have to learn how to raise money. All right, because just like Jonathan said, he wants to go out and rehab and use that money to buy a property. Well, guess what? You've been doing a lot of rehabs. Who wants to do that? Nobody wants to do that. Rehabs are not fun. George said they're not fun. So, doing a couple of rehabs here and there is okay, right? But like, you don't want to be doing rehabs your whole life. You know, you don't want to be doing like a gazillion, you know, all these rehabs just to raise money. Learn how to actually raise money. I mean, George is doing like $1 million projects. Do you think he's coming out of pocket to do all those projects? No, he just got people to, he's just got people to lend him the money, right? Is that true, George?
It's very, very true. I'm happy I'm excited you are bringing this topic, because that's a topic that most investors don't even talk about. Because the key is to learn how to raise money. That's it. Like you said, then you can do any deal you want to do. I have an investor right now that just, we did a deal where you pay cash for the property, cash.
Yes,
He has the money.
exactly.
So
I mean,
right.
George is still doing what he's doing. Is the reason he's doing what he's still doing right now, and the reason I'm still doing what I'm doing right now is because I have learned how to raise money. We have learned how to raise money.
That is key.
That's
I'm
it.
very, very happy.
Yes.
Next time I'm teaching, I'll bring that. I'll stress that important, because that's a secret that I think they don't, because real estate is capital intensive. You have to know how to raise money, like anything else. So you're very right. I'm going to go to your page and pick up some ideas too.
Yeah, go to my website. I always tell all my students, go to my website and do exactly what I'm doing. And then just lead everybody to the website. If somebody asks, if somebody says, like, you know, and then when you talk to them and say, like, what are you doing? He said, I invest in real estate. And they say, oh, every time you say I invest in real estate, they say, oh, I always wanted to invest in real estate. And you say, okay, well, great. Well, you can go to my website, go to stacyrossetti.com and click on the investor page, and it'll show you exactly how you can get involved in real estate right now.
That makes sense.
Right?
I like that.
And that brings me to the purpose of my training today, which is the 6 ways that you can invest in self-storage. The 6 ways you can invest in self-storage. And actually, my favorite one is you can lend. All right. So, and I tell this to everybody, and there's a lot of people I come across who are like, I really want to get into self-storage, but like, I ain't got no time. And, you know, and I just really don't want to put up with all the BS, whatever. And it's like, well, why don't you just give me your money and I'll do it for you? Okay. So lending is one of the 6 ways that you can invest in self-storage. All right. And you got to learn how to talk to lenders, right? Learn how to talk to lenders. That's just practice. And actually the truth is all you got to do is just ask them. All right, do you have any money that I can borrow? Just see what they say. They look at you like you're crazy. They do. I mean, I asked my hairdresser. I was like, do you have any money I could borrow? Well, actually, she was cutting my hair and she was like, what do you do? And I said, I invest in real estate. She's like, oh, I really want to invest in real estate. How do you get started? And I was like, well, do you have any money I could borrow? And she's like, I'm a hairdresser. No. And I was like, well, what you can do is find some money. All right. And then lend it to me. And then I will get you started in real estate. And she thought that was funny. But I mean, I asked my hairdresser, you know, I just ask anybody. I don't even care. I just ask people now. Now, so that's number 1, lending. Learn how to lend. If you have money to lend, you can be in any type of village you want to be in. All right. Number 2 is wholesaling self-storage. Okay. A lot of people discredit this, or a lot of people don't even think about this. They say, I want to get into self-storage. I want to own a storage facility. Well, guess what? If you don't have any money to buy any storage facilities right now, you can surely wholesale a self-storage. And guess what? I have a student right now that is putting under contract a $2 million facility, and he's going to wholesale it for $2.3 million. All right, he can make $300,000 on that facility. Okay, now that's a $2 million facility, and I'm walking him through the process, but he's going to wholesale it and make that cut. Another student put a $175,000 storage facility under contract. He called me up. He said, Stacy, I have a storage facility. I'm going to put it under contract for $175,000. He's like, this is the perfect storage facility for you. Do you want it? I said, send me the folder. So he sent me his folder, exactly what I teach him. Inside the folder is the deal analysis, pictures, you know, the OM, you know, all the numbers, the PPM and all this kind of stuff, the pro forma. I took a look at it and I said, yes, I'll buy it. And he said, can you buy it for $225,000? And I said, sure. So he's going to make 50 grand on that facility. And all he had to do is put it under contract and give me a call. That's all he had to do, right? If you find a storage facility that you don't want to buy or you can't afford to buy, or in your mind, you're thinking, oh shit, I have a storage facility under contract. What do I do? Then all you need to do is put it under contract and call me, because I'll find you a buyer, right? I'll find you a buyer. And then you can wholesale that sucker. You make so much money in wholesaling self-storage. I just love it, you know, because it's just, now you do have to do a little bit more work. On the residential side, it's a little bit like, you can't just like get the address and text it and be like, hey, do your own due diligence, like on the wholesaling side, right? You just can't do that. On the commercial side, you got to do a lot of work. You got to earn that 50 grand, right? Or you got to earn that 300 grand, you know, but you could totally wholesale self-storage. So do not discredit learning how to wholesale commercial property. And the truth of the matter is that there is not enough wholesalers in the world for commercial property. There are way too many wholesalers on the residential side, way too many. On the commercial side, I mean, you would have these investors eating out of the palm of your hand. Right. And you just have to learn how to run commercial deal analysis. You have to learn how to, how to learn how to wholesale self-storage. You got to do. But I just wanted to, today I'm just giving you an overview of all the different ways you can invest in self-storage. And actually, wholesaling self-storage is not really much different than wholesaling residential property, right? You are the middle person between the buyer and the seller. So I'm wholesaling a property right now that I went to the seller and we offered him $550 is what we offer, $550. He said, no, I want $600. That's okay, $600, fine. And now I'm going to wholesale that for $700. Okay. And so that means that I have to go out and find the buyer. So I have it under contract for 600 grand and I'm looking for a buyer for 700 grand. Now I may not get 700 grand, but I'll get somewhere between 650 and 700 grand. Okay. And then I'll make what that money that's in the middle is what I'm going to make. So I'm going to make at least 50 plus grand. I haven't made anything less than 50 grand on a storage facility that I've wholesaled. Okay. It's typically maybe, $65,000, $75,000. These are typical deals that I do now. So do not discredit wholesale. You just have to learn how to wholesale. And if you don't know how to wholesale, then you've got Mike's wholesaling course, which is completely free as an REI USA member. And you also have Mike Watkins, which he can teach you how to wholesale and kind of give you the legit and the steps by steps. But essentially you have to go out, find a seller that wants to sell, put it under contract, and then go out and find a buyer that wants to buy. And then you get the cut in the middle, whatever that is. That's wholesaling. Okay. Now so lending and wholesaling, which are like two of my favorites, but they're all my favorites. So I don't need to tell y'all. Okay. Number 3, how to invest. There's 3 and 4. And this is what I do. Mostly, this is what I do, is I buy mismanaged properties and I buy income producing properties. Mismanaged versus income producing, okay? Mismanaged properties are when when you find a facility that is just not being managed properly. So it's not like a dumpy, ugly facility like, George's houses that he buys, right? These are like they don't look too bad because most storage facilities, they just all look the same anyways, right? But what mismanaged means is that they're poorly managed, as in the owner is not managing them properly. And probably most of the time they're built probably in the 1980s and the 1990s. And the owners had them for 20, 30, 40 years. And he just tired tired of them. He just don't want to do it anymore. Been paid off for 20 years. And if he makes $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 a month, he's happy because there's no mortgage on it. So who cares how much money you make, right? That's a mismanaged property. So like the one behind me in this picture that you see, we bought this as a mismanaged property. It doesn't look too bad, right? And this is a really long, skinny building. And then all around this entire building is parking. You don't see the parking, you just see the units. But essentially we have units plus parking. So we make money not only on, the tenants from the units, but also parking. And guess what? We park big rigs, dump trucks, tow trucks, and box trucks. That's what we park. All right. So don't discredit even, storage facilities that have parking. The owner of this facility that we bought, there was no like parking like rules. Like essentially he was just like, oh, go find a spot. That's how I knew it was mismanaged, right? Because when I looked at it, it was like, you can't tell if it's mismanaged or not, but I already knew because it was just like crazy parking, right? There was no rhyme or reason to what he did. That's number one. But number two, a mismanaged facility means that there's no rent roll. There's no rent roll. There's no P&L. There's no balance sheet. The owner doesn't want to give you any records of the property. All right. He doesn't want to show how much money he's made because probably number one, maybe he's got other businesses and it's all just kind of being like commingled or whatever. Or number two, it's cash only. So every facility that I ever bought, most likely, most of them are all cash only, maybe some checks. This one here, the owner was cash only, except if they gave a check. If they gave a check, he deposited it into the bank. But if they didn't give a check, it was cash only, just go right into the pocket. Right? So what that means is that he cannot show proof of income. In the commercial world, everything is based on proof of income. It is not based on how it looks. Looks are like, I love it because like looks are like the last thing that everybody looks at. It's always like, how much money is it making, right? That's it. How much money? It's really in the storage world. It's how much money, what's the total square footage, what's the price per square foot. It's always about square feet. Right in the store, because storage facilities are warehouses. That's what they are. They're warehouses. They're zoned industrial, light industrial, heavy industrial, or commercial is what they're zoned, right? Depending on where you live, but it's all just square footage. So the question, like if you want to be a storage nerd like me, then you're going to be like, all right, so what's your price per square foot? And the owner's going to be like, oh, it's 27 cents a square foot. We're buying one right now where it's 27 cents. They're charging 27 cents a square foot. And the market value is 67 cents a square foot. All right. So that is a mismanaged property, right? Because they are not charging what they should be charging. That's mismanaged. Now, when you hear 27 cents a square foot, and then you go and call the competition and then come up with an average that all the competition is, and it's 67, your heart should do like a little pitter patter, right? It'd be like, oh yes, this is a deal, right? And these are not difficult to find because guess what? They're in tertiary markets, secondary or tertiary markets is where you need to be focusing in the country, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere. All right. So that's a mismanaged property. If the owner says, no, I'm not going to give you any proof of income, that's a mismanaged property. Now, the one thing with mismanaged property is that you have to understand is that there's no bank that's going to lend on this. No bank is going to lend on this. So guess what? Full circle back to the beginning of our conversation, which is you have to learn how to raise money. If you can raise money, then all you have to do is go buy, you could buy a storage facility, right? And so George, like essentially what happened with me is I was rehabbing all these houses and then I was like, I'm so tired of rehabbing, I'm out. And then I just went to my private lenders and I said, look, I want to do something besides rehabbing houses. Would you be interested in investing in a self-storage facility with me? And guess what? They all said yes. Because who would say no? Who would say no to a storage facility? I mean, essentially storage is recession resistant. So here, George is doing $1 million properties. He's crossing his fingers right now that, you know, he'll be able to sell them. Whereas in a storage facility, it's like in an upturn, you make money, and in a downturn, you make money. So my advice to you, George, is to just start talking to the lenders that you use or you're lending money to and say, look, I really would like to do something not active, but passive. Now, when you have passive income from a private lender, you need to have longer terms. So the terms are going to be from 3 to 5 years. Okay, so they have to get over the fact that they're not going to be paid in a year, but or in a 2 year, however long you do it. But the truth of the matter is, all my lenders, once they get over that hump and then they start getting those monthly checks, they don't want to go to you. In fact, my lenders do not even want to need to pay them back. They're going, I have one lender that's like, no, just do 10 years. You know, so because they just get that monthly check every single month, who cares? And that way they don't even have to worry about finding more money and moving it over and finding another place to put the money and all this kind of stuff, right? So because we started out with our lenders doing like 1 year loans, I convinced them to do 3 years, and then I started convincing them to do 5 years, and now we're doing 10 years. And that's just a regular private lender, right? So my advice to you, George, and to Jonathan and everybody else listening is like, just, you know, when they ask you how long of a term do you need, you just say, look, it could be anywhere from 1 to 5 years, depending on the type of property that we buy, right? I could buy a rehab and do a rehab, or I could buy like, you know, a rental and do a rehab, or I could buy a storage facility and do that. So I don't know, but I would like to know that your money, that you'd be okay with lending me that money for a couple of years instead of just like a couple of months, right? And that's how you talk to the lenders about that. But you do have to have private lenders. Now, a private lender, what if they say like, no, I only want to do a year? Then what you do is be like, all right, why don't we do an equity split? Why don't we do that? Like, let's just split it. Like instead, like your very first one, who cares if you have to split a couple of deals? Who cares, right? Because you're getting your feet in the door. And then once you start doing it, people are just going to want to work with you anyways. So you say, look, they say, no, I only want to do a year. And you say, okay, look, why don't we like, you give me an interest rate, plus I'll give you an equity split on the back end, right? And then you just do that and you kind of work your way up. And then they say, no, I don't want to do it. Say, what if you just do like a 70-30 split then? You know, you make so much money that way. And they're like, no, like, look, I'll do 5 years plus a 50-50 split. What about that? You know, so you're negotiating the terms of the length of the loan for your lenders, just so that you can get them to understand that you need longer terms. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, and that's on the mismanaged side. But the thing with mismanaged that's so awesome, and I just had a person come on and talk about this. We're doing deal analysis in the coaching program, but they just the mismanaged properties, you can, if not double but triple the value of that property within like 18 months, right? So I'm buying $300,000 properties that I'm going to be able to sell within 3 years for $1 million, right? And the first 6 months are, you know, getting up and running and getting them going and trying to figure it all out. But then after that, like, I haven't been to any of my storage facilities in like years, you know? And so like the amount of work that you do versus you know, your time, the amount of the time versus money that you make is just like a bazillion fold, right? Whereas, you know, with rehabbing or wholesaling, you're just working your ass off. Guess what? I am done with grinding. I am not grinding anymore. Like, I am like on the easy peasy lemon squeezy path is what I'm on. What's the opposite of grinding? Easy peasy lemon squeezy, all right? Mm-hmm. And so I just love, that's what I love about storage. And that's why I personally feel like it's the best kept secret in the real estate investing world, is that it's just so much less effort to do storage. Now there is effort, right? And we have 1,000 doors, so it's like more work, and we're about to add like 300 more doors. But like, you know, but we're getting the more that you do it, the better that you get at automating and systematizing everything so that you don't have to do that work, right? So So that's how that works. So that's mismanaged facilities, which is like probably the best way to make money. The upside on a mismanaged facility is one of the best ways. In fact, my cap rates, and I know y'all probably don't know a lot about cap rate, but my cap rates are like 20+%. I mean, just ridiculous cap rate. You know, in a multifamily world, you're happy if you get 6 cap, right? Whereas for us on a mismanaged property, I won't buy a mismanaged property unless I can make 20+% cap rate. All right. So that's mismanaged properties. Now, on the other side, other spectrum is income producing properties. Okay, income producing properties mean that when you go there and talk to the owner, they're going to be like, you know, yes, I can show you my P&L, I can show you my balance sheet, I can show you, you know, my tax returns. Like, you know, it's an income producing property because they're like, I want to sell this at top dollar. I'm at market value. So they're selling it at the 67 cents, not the 27 cents. They're selling it at that. They've managed it properly. That's an income producing property, right? So right now in the same city of Florida, we have 2 facilities under contract. One of them is it's 100 units and it's producing $40,000 a year, and we're purchasing it for $300,000. Okay. The other one is 100 units and it's producing $90,000 a year, and we're buying it for $700,000. Okay. So do you see the difference? It's exactly the same facility. One is getting maybe, you know, 30 cents a square foot or whatever, and the other one is getting, you know, 60 cents a square foot. Okay, so that's the difference between mismanaged and income producing, right? You want to take the mismanaged one and you want to make it into income producing. But some people, they're like, you know, they're not as a big of a risk taker that I am. So they're like, no, I just want to buy a property where I'm making money immediately. I want cash flow. I don't want upside. I want cash flow. That's an income producing property. So if you have 20% down, right, you can go to a local bank and get a totally awesome loan for that. Or you can go to SBA and get a loan for that. That's an income producing property. All right. But you do have to have money to put down. So let's say we buy for $600,000-$700,000. We have to come up with $150,000 down. Okay. And I don't have I'm going to put $150,000 into the deal. Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to borrow that money from a private lender, and we're going to form a company together. And then we're going to go out and we're going to go buy that property together under the company. Okay. But you'll have to guarantee that, you know, but you can always, even if you don't have the money to put the down payment on the property, you can also partner with somebody and y'all can go together and get that property together, which many of my students do this. Okay. Or you can just find somebody to lend you the money and you could just partner and say, look, lend me the money for this deal. I need $700,000 and we'll just split it 50-50, and they'll just lend you the money. Right. You know, something like that. But yeah, that's income producing versus mismanaged. Now, sometimes what we do is we balance both sides of the deal. So I'll go out and I'll buy this facility for $300,000 and it's only making $40,000. So that means like we're barely breaking even to manage this thing, right? Or I have to come out of pocket to manage this thing because it's not producing what it's supposed to be doing, versus then I go out and buy an income producing property that's making money, and all that money is funneled into this other deal so that essentially we are making no money is what it is. Until we bring this property up to value, we're making no money. Okay. And we're just like we're just breaking even. Right. So a lot of times like when we buy a mismanaged property, you know, my husband will be like, if I'm going to buy this property, you need to go out and buy another one. That's why we have 2 properties in the same area under contract. And he'll say like, you know, I can't afford to come out of pocket, you know, $2,000 a month. So go find something that nets $2,000 a month so we can at least break even, or something like that is what he'll do. Because my husband manages all of the facilities. And that's us basically like making sure that we don't have to come out of pocket every single month. Now, the very first one, if you buy a mismanaged facility, obviously you're going to be coming out of pocket every single month, right? But you can always go out and buy another one and just offset that, or you can come out of pocket for that first one, and then after that go out and and look for others, however you want to do it. Now, what we do is we create mini portfolios. So we'll buy 100 units here and 100 units there. And this is like, these are all kind of within like a 5-mile radius. And then we'll say, okay, now we need probably 1 to 2 more 100 units. So we'll go out in the area within maybe like a 25-mile radius and try and ask every single other storage facility owner if they want to sell. And then we'll try to create like a little mini portfolio up to maybe like an hour, like anywhere from like, 0 to an hour away. We create mini portfolios. And that's what we do, because then what you can do is you can sell 300 or 400 units to like one buyer. And there's so many different buyers out there that want to buy like bigger, like, a lot of facilities, not 100, but like 200, 300, 400, units or more, right? So we create mini portfolios just in case we need to go out and sell the whole thing, right? For some reason, or we need, and then once we sell it, we could 1031 exchange that into like a different facility. So that's kind of that's how we create mini portfolios. So now we have wholesaling, lending, mismanaged facilities, and income producing properties. Okay. Those are really the 4 kind of main ways. But then you have 2 others. One of them is land and new construction. There's always somebody I'm talking to on the webinar and when I speak or whatever, and they're like, I got the perfect piece of property for a storage facility, right? So that is like, that's another way to invest in self-storage, is just build from the ground up. Just build from the ground up. If you have a piece of property and you want to build storage, this is like an excellent way to get into self-storage. And in fact, you make a lot of money by building from the ground up. You can most of the time double, if not triple, the value of those properties as well too, right? But you need to make sure that it's the right location. So you need to get a feasibility study, and those feasibility studies are going to cost a couple $1,000s. You also need to make sure that they're zoned properly, right? If they're zoned properly, whatever the zoning is for that area, then it won't cost you that much money. But if it's not zoned properly, you're going to have to rezone it. And that's going to cost you a little bit of money to do that, depending on where you're at, right? It could take $1,500 or $15,000, depending on the location, okay? So you want to look into that. Once you get the zoning done, once you get the feasibility study done and they give you a thumbs up, then you can start looking for ways to like, get the trees out of the way or grade or put the foundation down or something like that, right? But building storage facilities is a great way to get in self-storage. And a lot of people, this is what they do. They just say like, I'm going to build from the ground up. I don't want to take anybody else's crap. I'm just going to start it from the beginning. Or what they do too is they do all the pre-development to the development, right? There's like, I have one student right now that he just bought a facility in Texas. It was $1 million. The owner bought the piece of property, did all the pre-development, got it built up, spent probably around, let's say, $400,000 to do all this. And then my student came in and bought the deal for $600,000. So he made at least $500,000 on that deal. My student is leasing it up and getting it completely full to 90% full, and then he's going to sell the property for probably $1.6 or $1.7 million. Do you see how the process is? If you did that all yourself, you'd borrow, $400,000 and then, double or double and a half the value of that property just by building it and then leasing it up. You could really put $400,000 into a property and sell it for 1.5 or 1.6 million and make $1 million on that property just by building it, right? So that's why building is so popular and so enticing. But the only thing is that it just takes forever. It takes forever. And I'm too lazy to do that. But George is not lazy because he does $200,000 rehabs. So you might as well just build up a facility for $200,000 and triple the value of that in the next 2-3 years. Right? That's new construction. And then finally, the last way to invest in self-storage is commercial investing. It's not commercial, conversions, developing and conversions. So what I mean by conversions is, you know, these retail buildings that are in like, you know, secondary or tertiary markets, most likely not a primary market, right? Because they're just oversaturated and too expensive. But in secondary and tertiary markets, you will see these buildings like retail buildings that are vacant. We all seen them. All right. Now you can go buy those things for pennies on the dollar, and then you can just drop pods in and you can call it a storage facility. Okay. So now and that's converting, that's essentially converting. And you see these, if you start looking for storage, you will see these everywhere. And it's going to be more and more and more, because the reason why is those buildings are going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, right? And you can buy, like I went driving for storage this last Saturday and took a whole group out, and we drove around. We found like a retail building that was in kind of like it was in a secondary, but kind of like secondary to tertiary market, where it was just like a building that had just been like vacant. The owner of that building downsized and then moved into like, bought a smaller building, and now he just has this big building that has like a big huge for sale sign on it, and like nobody buying it, right? And of course, like, what are you gonna do with that building, right? That would be the perfect building for a storage facility. Perfect. And he probably, you know, we could probably pick that building up for less than 500 grand, I'm guessing, and then maybe cost another couple $100,000 to just do the construction on that. So I'd say all in maybe $600,000-700,000, and that's just like building, except for you don't have to build the building, you just have to, you know, drop the pods and stuff like that. And that is a great way to get started in self-storage investing. And I really think that that'll be more and more of a possibility going forward over the next couple of years. Okay, so that is the 6 ways to invest in self-storage. So out of those 6 ways, which ways are the most of interest to everybody? I just want to know. George, Jonathan, Michelle, you want to try to talk? Anita? Which of all those 6 ways do you want to, are you interested in?
I'm really looking at the mismanaged. In fact, especially second, there's a property that I'm going to take a look at Friday or Saturday. Self-storage that I know is being mismanaged. I'm going to take a look and see what's going on.
Go ahead. So tell me, like, where is this here? It's in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Is it in the Atlanta area, or where is it?
In 90, you know, 575 here.
Oh yeah, that's where I live.
92. Okay, it's on 92.
I live in Canton.
Yeah.
I live in Canton.
Oh,
And
okay.
actually, Christy lives in Canton too.
Me too.
575 exit 92. You know, it says 92 exit. It's in that area.
Okay. I have no idea. So it's is it mismanaged?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Been in the family for a long time.
Keep me posted on it. You know
Okay,
what you need to do when you go look at this. You need to figure out total square footage, total amount of units, what's the unit mix, what's the purchase price, is it vacant, what's the percentage of vacancy. Just try to see if you can get as much data as you possibly can,
Okay.
but then you'll have to run commercial deal analysis on it,
Okay.
right, to look at it. But yeah, so that's a great, I'm in this area, so
Okay.
we're actually selling our facility in Ball Ground. We're going to sell it. We decided,
Okay.
because I'm in the process of moving into my RV. We're going to be doing RV. We're going to live in our RV full time and just travel.
Okay.
And like all of our facilities are south of the 20, and then going down to Florida is kind of where all of ours are now. And we just have this one way up here in Ball Ground, and like we just don't want to build it anymore. We're going to sell that as well too.
How much
So,
are you guys looking for?
It's going to be probably around maybe 400,000. It's 76 units. It's completely full, and it's an income producing property. It's not mismanaged. It's an income producing property. It'll probably be about 400 grand or so. I'm not 100% sure. I just saw, like, because I just saw in the MLS, there was like 52 units that just went under contract for 450 grand. And I was like, man, that's good. I'm going to sell my stuff. Mine is 76 units. What can I sell mine for? I have to look. I mean, the income is, we're looking at the income, obviously, but so that's kind of what we're looking at.
Let me ask you a question. How about managing it? Do you have like somebody there to do all that, or how you managing
You
it?
just need like a boots on the ground person to really manage it, and they need to go out. If you buy one facility that's less than 100, it's like once or twice a month is all they go out. It's like a budget of like $300 a month to manage this thing.
The one that you sell, do you have somebody there like at the
Well, we have a
facility?
boots on the ground person that manages all of our facilities.
Oh, yeah?
But yeah,
Okay.
we go out like, I mean, he goes out like once every, this one we live like right around the corner from, honestly.
Okay.
So like my husband's always like, I'm going to the ball ground. So
Okay.
that one we really don't like have him manage because we're just right here.
Okay.
He manages all the other ones, but a boots on the ground person to manage that, maybe $300 a month. But you will need a phone person to answer the phones because you don't want to do that, right? And that'll
No.
probably be another like maybe $300, $400, $500 a month. So it's going to cost you good. It's going to cost you $1,500 a month to run this thing. Okay, is what it's going to cost you, plus the mortgage.
Okay.
Okay. Expenses are usually 30% of the income.
Okay.
30% of the income is how you calculate that. Okay, or do you have a loan or are you going to use a private lender?
We use private lenders.
Yeah, use a private lender.
I'll talk to my group because we were just thinking, that's what I'm taking. We're just looking at all the asset classes to invest in. So
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, just let me know if you have any questions. Okay, Christy, you had something. Can you?
Yeah, I'm
Unmute.
unmuted, I think. Can you hear me?
Okay, what's up? Yeah.
I was just curious, it's back to the beginning. You said about learning to get a storage facility under contract to
Uh-huh.
wholesale it. What's the best way to learn how to do that?
To learn, I mean, that's what I teach here. Just keep showing up. I can teach that next month.
Okay. I'll be
Just
back.
remind me. I'll just do
Okay.
that.
All right.
Otherwise, I just ramble.
Okay.
I could do wholesale to put it under contract, but essentially what you want to do, Christy, is just talk to owners and
Mhm.
ask them if they want to sell.
Okay.
Okay. And if they want to sell, then there's like things that you need in order to run the deal analysis.
Right.
Okay. But really the first question, I tell all my students all the time, if you really want to find something to buy or wholesale, you should be talking to 5 sellers a week at least.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, cool. Okay, good. What other questions? What did everybody say? So Anita said she wants to lend and wholesale. Okay, you can definitely lend to me if you want to lend. But yeah, wholesaling or lending or conversions. I love it. I love it. Do you want to say something to that, Anita?
No, I mean, I'm pretty new, so I'm just listening to you talk. So I'm just trying to take it in. This is my first time coming in.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, just hang out with me. It's fun. It's fun to at least kind of, what you need to do is you need to figure out commercial deal analysis, which is something that I'll teach here. I could teach on a regular basis. This time I was like, okay, I'm going to just do like, what are the 5 ways? Next time I could do some wholesaling. I could do some commercial deal analysis to get y'all in, kind of like, what are the things that you need to know in order to run deal analysis? That's really what you need to be focusing on. And you need to just talk to sellers.
Talk to sellers.
Just talk to sellers. Okay.
do you teach any advanced like this, like introductory, right? Do you have like advanced where you teach like deal analysis and stuff like that?
Well, I do that in my course, or I do that in Storage Nerds, or I do webinars all the time. So you can always just follow me. Just follow me around. I'm everywhere. Right. I'm teaching. If you're in Georgia, is anybody? Anita, are you in Georgia? I'm teaching actually tomorrow afternoon, but it's at a women's lunch. So George, sorry, you can't come.
I hear you.
But I'm teaching tomorrow in Atlanta at a women's lunch. So Christy, you could always come if you want to come hang out with us.
Yeah, where is it?
It's I'm not sure. I'll have to send it to you.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it going to be recorded?
No, it's just like it's like an in-person meeting that one of my friends.
Okay.
Yes, ladies lunch. Let's see. I am going to be, let's see. I'm going to be teaching. Where is everybody? Jonathan, where are you? Michelle, where are you? Put either unmute yourself or put you in the chat.
Jonathan's in Lawrenceville.
Oh, that's right. Jonathan's in Lawrenceville, but he can't come because he's not a lady. He's not a lady, so
Hello?
he can't come.
Hello,
Where are you at,
can you
Michelle?
guys hear me? Hi, I'm in California, San Francisco Bay Area. I was
Okay,
having
cool.
problems with my phone earlier. I couldn't get it to unmute, so I had to go on my I forget what's I can't think of it. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm sorry, I was driving as well. So I was trying to navigate all these things and then listen to you all. But I
Well,
thank
out
you
of
for
the six ways, what interests you the most?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Out of the 6 ways to invest in self-storage, what interests you the most?
I'm not sure about the self-storage thing, but I'm into the wholesaling thing. So I listen to a lot of your stuff as far as wholesaling goes, but I'm not sure about
Okay.
the
Yeah, so-
storage part.
Well,
It
you
sounds
can
quite
wholesale
interesting. I'm still learning.
self-storage.
I know, I'm still learning it.
You can
I'm
wholesale
listening into you.
self-storage.
I would love to. I just my first time chiming in on you speaking about storage. So I'm very interested,
Okay.
but I just don't have the knowledge of it at all. But I'm listening and
Hang out
learning
with
from
me
you.
and I'll teach you how to do it.
I would love that.
Yes.
I would love that. Thank you.
But do exactly what I told Christy, because she's learning as well too. Essentially, you
Okay.
need to you need to talk to owners. That's really,
Okay.
I mean, in all the niches, that's the one thing that people should be doing is talking to owners. I mean, whether or not it's a house, a piece of property, land, a commercial, a storage, or whatever, like you should just be talking to owners and don't have any expectations at all. Just talk to them and see if they want to sell.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And Anita, you are in Beaufort, and I think we're meeting. Is Beaufort up by Peachtree? What's it called? Peachtree Crossings or something or whatever?
Yeah, it's like probably like 30 to 40 minutes north of like the city.
Yeah.
It's near like the
because,
mall of
because
Georgia.
I think we're meeting tomorrow. I don't know if you can come for lunch though, but I think we're meeting at let me see, where is it? I don't have the location. I have no idea. I should probably put the location down.
Yeah, you could just send it. It's near the Mall of Georgia.
It's like we're up in what is it called? Peachtree Crossings or something? What's the name of that area?
I'm kind of new to the area, but,
Okay.
but yeah.
Isn't there something called Peachtree Crossings or something? I can't remember. Anyways, if I can find it, I'll post it in the REI USA Facebook group. Is what I have it on my actually, you know what? I have it on my Facebook page. Let me just look it up real fast because I know Janine tagged me in it. So let me see. It's tomorrow at lunch and it's at I don't know. It's not in my group now. I'm not understanding Facebook at all. But okay, so I'll find it and I'll share it in the Facebook group. So if you're interested, I think it's right in your area is what I'm saying. So you could always come hang out. This is a ladies' luncheon, and actually, especially if you're in Georgia, it's a ladies' luncheon. So you could just come hang out with all the ladies up there, you know. And it's a real estate luncheon for ladies.
Okay, well, send it to me definitely, and I'll look and see if I'm able to come.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right, good. Okay, all right. Well, any other final questions or anything like this that you need help with, or that, you know, how's REI USA doing? Do you need any help with that?
Miss Stacy, this is Michelle speaking again. Sometimes when I get the alerts saying that my webinar is going to start, it doesn't start. So I don't know if I'm doing something or, you know, what's going on, but then it just keeps saying it's going to start, waiting for hosts to get started, and it never actually starts.
Which one did you try? Which one was the last one?
There was like the B&B, and there was a few others. I can't quite name all of them at the moment, but I've been having that problem.
Okay.
And then
okay.
you know, I get the alerts from you, and then, you know, to remind me to chime in or whatever. And then once I click on it in Zoom and all that stuff, it just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning, and it's not doing anything. So I'm just like, okay, I missed another webinar, but I don't know if that's happening to anyone else, but it's happening to me. I'm not sure if it could be my phone, but I just wanted to let you know. I do, chime in when it says click on Zoom or click here to get in on the webinar, and I do.
Are you
that
talking
when
about the
it's-
email reminder that you get from Zoom?
Those
Okay.
things, yes.
Yeah, so you just go from right from,
reminders.
it should just like, if you're in the Zoom email reminder, it should just open right up.
Yeah, I don't
So,
know. It opens up, but then the host never, like connect. I never get connected to see the webinar or whatever.
Next time, if you could please just let us know which ones if you let us know if that happens, which one was that? So if you just email questions@rei-usa.com and let Christy know, and then we could check in and just see if there's some issue or something. I mean, we haven't honestly had any other complaints on it.
Okay, well, maybe it's just my phone. I'm
Maybe
not
it's
sure.
maybe it's the phone, because I think you were having issues with your.
Yes, I just figured out in my settings how to unmute the microphone to speak to you all. So I'll ask my husband to look, because he's the computer savvy person. I am not at all. So it could be myself, but I'm just wanted to note you just in case that it wasn't. But I love all of the events that you guys have that I was able to join in on. And Deanna Britt is the one who referred me to this, and I miss her so. Hurt my heart. Like, she's so sweet. Was such a sweet person.
I know.
And
oh
to
my gosh,
find
my
that
heart
out.
is still broken.
Right. Me too.
It was like a rising star.
Truly, truly. And when she was like, yeah, you can go in for a free month, and then thereafter it's like $40 a month. I get my $40 worth. I really love that you've put this together. You're outstanding, and I thank you as well.
Okay, well, I appreciate you hanging out with us and joining. And yeah, I miss her. I think about her still all the time. So it's a very
Same here.
sad.
I did too. Very sad. But keep having these events. I love it. I'm
okay, good.
lots.
Well, I appreciate everything. And you guys all have a good evening. And then I will see you guys at the next session. We'll focus on wholesaling and some deal analysis is what we'll do. Okay.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Take care.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm going to your website.